So we sent a remotely operated submersible down as far as the cable would let us go. 11,000 meters, roughly the depth of Mount Everest, flipped upside down and dropped into the sea, and started flipping rocks the entire way down. And honestly, stick around for the very end, because at Rock 100, in a place fewer people have ever seen than have walked on the moon, the claw closes around something currently holding the record for the deepest living fish ever filmed on Earth. Let's drop in. Zone 1, the sunlight zone, 0 to 200 meters. For the very first flip of this dive, we found a mimic octopus. And honestly, for a second, nobody on the feed even realized it was an octopus at all. It had flattened itself out and was moving like a completely different animal. Startle one of these, and it can reshape its body to impersonate more than 15 different dangerous species, flattening down to fake a venomous flatfish, or trailing 2 arms behind it to imitate a swimming sea snake. Not every rock down here has something under it, so I'm not going to show every single flip, just the ones actually worth stopping for. Rock 6 turned into one of those. A flamboyant cuttlefish walking across the seafloor on 2 modified arms instead of swimming, its skin pulsing through purple, pink, and yellow in slow waves. Turns out that color isn't just for show. Flamboyant cuttlefish are genuinely toxic, one of the only cuttlefish species actually dangerous to eat. Rock 9 looked completely empty at first glance, and that's exactly the scary part. Tucked into a gap barely bigger than a coin was a blue ringed octopus, small enough to sit in your palm, carrying venom powerful enough to kill an adult human with no anti-venom currently available anywhere on Earth. Its rings only flash blue right before it strikes, so by the time you'd notice, it's already too late. Rock 12 had something so colorful the light hit it before the rock was even fully lifted. A mandarin fish. And this thing looks almost fake, patterned in swirling neon blue, orange, and green. It's actually one of only 2 vertebrate species on Earth known to produce blue coloring from pigment rather than light-reflecting structural tricks, which is part of why it looks so unnaturally vivid on camera. Rock 15 wasn't even a rock. It was a chunk of coral covered in what looked like tiny, colorful spiral trees. Christmas tree worms, and they're exactly as reactive as they look. Get anywhere close, even just a shadow passing over, and they vanish into their tube almost instantly, snapping shut faster than the eye can properly follow. Rock 19 turned up something genuinely bizarre, sitting perfectly still on the sand, staring straight up. A stargazer, and this fish buries its whole body except its eyes and mouth, wiggling a small lure on its tongue to attract prey close enough to ambush. Get too close yourself, and it can shock you with up to 50 volts through modified muscles behind its eyes. Roughly the same jolt as 4 car batteries wired together. Rock 22 looked completely boring, just a dull, mottled fish sitting motionless on the sand, right up until it felt threatened. A flying gurnard, and it doesn't fly, but it does something almost as dramatic, snapping open 2 enormous, colorful, fan-like fins that instantly make it look 3 times its actual size to anything thinking about eating it. It also just walks across the seafloor on modified fin rays instead of swimming most of the time. Rock 25 had a wonderpus octopus tucked into a burrow, its body striped in bold rust orange and white bands, completely distinct from the mimic octopus we found earlier, despite looking almost like a cousin of it. And Rock 28 had something so unexpectedly aggressive that the footage genuinely got weirder the longer it went on. A sarcastic fringehead, a small fish that spends most of its life hiding in an empty shell or a discarded bottle, until another male gets too close. Then it opens its mouth to nearly 4 times its closed size, revealing a bright yellow fluorescent interior. And the 2 fish press their open mouths directly against each other in a shoving match scientists literally call mouth wrestling, to settle who gets to keep the territory. Zone 2, the twilight zone, 200 to 1,000 meters. Past this point, sunlight barely reaches at all, and the floodlights are doing basically all the work now. Rock 34 had a vampire squid drifting just underneath, and despite the name, it's not hunting anything. It's just slowly feeding on debris falling from above. But threaten one, and it can genuinely turn itself inside out, covering its body in spikes, while glowing tips on its arms flash to buy just enough time to vanish. Rock 38, and something was circling just outside the light before the camera fully locked onto it. A cookie-cutter shark, barely 20 inches long, but capable of latching onto animals many times its own size and twisting out a perfectly circular plug of flesh before the target even reacts. These sharks have genuinely bitten submarines before, mistaking sonar gear for prey. And Rock 42 came up empty, but hovering right above it was a glass squid, transparent enough to see straight through to its organs, with one eye noticeably larger than the other, permanently watching two directions at once, one eye up toward the light, one eye down into the dark. Zone 3. The Midnight Zone, 1,000 to 4,000 meters. No sunlight has ever reached this deep. Anything glowing down here made that light itself. Rock 47 barely registered on camera at first, just a faint red glow. A black dragonfish, and here's the sneaky part. Almost nothing else down here can even see the color red. It's hunting with a light that's basically invisible to everything around it. Rock 52 turned up a barrel-eye fish, and honestly, this one's hard to even describe properly. Its head is almost entirely transparent, like it's wearing a glass dome, and you can actually watch its tubular eyes rotating inside that dome, tracking straight up through its own see-through skull. And we didn't even need a rock for the last one in this zone. Something enormous just drifted past the frame on its own. A giant squid, eyes measuring up to 27 centimeters across, roughly the size of a basketball, the largest eyes of any known animal on Earth, built for exactly one job: spotting a hunting sperm whale before it gets close enough to matter. Zone 4. The Abyssal Zone, 4,000 to 6,000 meters. This far down, the pressure alone would have crushed the sub's hull if it weren't built specifically for this depth. Rock 60 disturbed an entire cluster at once. Sea pigs, a type of sea cucumber that walks across the mud on inflated tube feet. When a whale carcass sinks this deep, these things show up in genuine herds, sometimes hundreds strong, feasting on what's essentially a once-in-a-decade windfall. Rock 64 had something drifting past that looked almost too strange to be real. A pink see-through Fantasia, discovered only in 2007. A swimming sea cucumber with completely transparent, powder-pink skin. You can watch its mouth, intestines, and digestive process happening in real time from the outside, and if that's not unsettling enough, it can also produce its own bioluminescent glow when threatened, lighting up its own visible organs to startle a predator. Rock 68 had something standing so still, the pilot almost logged it as debris. A tripod fish propped up on three unusually long fin rays, like an actual tripod, facing into the current, waiting for food without ever needing to move. And at Rock 72, a ghost shark glided past in the distance, a lineage that split off from true sharks over 400 million years ago, with a strange, retractable structure on its forehead, used only during mating. Zone 5, the Huddle Zone, 6,000 to 11,000 meters. And now the deepest, least explored place on the entire planet. Fewer people have seen this with their own eyes than have walked on the moon. Rock 81 had giant tube worms swaying around a hydrothermal vent nearby, in water hot enough to injure a human hand. These worms have no mouth and no digestive system at all. They survive purely by hosting bacteria inside their own bodies that turn toxic vent chemicals directly into food. Rock 91 turned up something noticeably bigger than it should have been. A giant amphipod, Allochella gigantea, growing up to 30 centimeters long, dwarfing every other amphipod scattered through this trench. And now, Rock 100, the one from the start of this video. The claw closes slowly around it, and underneath, gliding through total darkness, a Mariana snailfish, filmed at a confirmed depth of 8,336 meters, currently the deepest living fish ever recorded on Earth. Soft, pale, almost gelatinous, held together under nearly 800 atmospheres of pressure by a chemical called TMAO that stabilizes its proteins from the inside. Nothing about it looks like the monster you'd picture as the deepest fish alive. It just looks small, quiet, and completely at home, somewhere darker than almost anywhere else a camera has ever pointed. Final thoughts. 29 animals, from sunlit reefs so colorful they barely look real, all the way down to 11,000 meters of total, permanent darkness. And honestly, the deeper this dive went, the less empty it actually got. Too deep for anything to survive was never really a real limit. It was just a line nobody had pointed a camera past yet. And there's a lot we still haven't found. We only made it through a fraction of what's actually down there, so if you want us to send the sub back down for a part 2, smash the like button and let us know in the comments. We'll go back down if enough of you actually want to see it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.